Hey everybody, this is Stephen Greenleaf, Leafy, coming to you from outside Tiburon in Guanacaste province, Costa Rica. I'm right on top of the Continental Divide here. And we hear a lot of strange and conflicting stories about environmental topics and sustainability topics, and some of it's pretty scary stuff, and it's hard to know what to believe and what to do, right? I mean, we've heard that windmills create fumes that cause cancer. They don't. Recently, I heard some folks say that windmills never produce as much energy as it takes to create the windmill, and that's off by several factors of magnitude, actually. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. They have their drawbacks. But some of these behind me here are closing in on 20 years old now, just cranking out good, clean power for nearly a generation. Now, so that doesn't mean they're perfect, and it's valuable to think about the pluses and minuses of everything. But it's to the point now where we're having some pretty ridiculous conversations. So let's say that you've heard that human-induced climate change is not real. It's just made up by environmentalists or somebody who wants to do something. And let's say for the moment that that's true, but that we go ahead and we try to address climate change in every way we can, right? So what's the worst that could happen if we do that? Well, okay, so we'd have cars that use less gas. We'd have trucks and buses that use less fuel. That saves us money. We'd have a lot less air pollution, a lot less toxins in our environment, and the enormous health impacts of that. I'm sure some of you know somebody who's got cancer or had cancer. Touches everyone nowadays. Yeah, or asthma. And what about the kids that are losing school time because they're sick from asthma or some respiratory ailment or some other ailment? We're seeing a wave of all these new childhood disorders and disabilities and developmental problems. And it's my theory, and not just mine, that a lot of that is because of accumulated toxins in our environment. So we're going to try to reduce climate change. So we're going to have clearer air. We're going to have less pollution. We're going to have less of all the public health problems that come along with that pollution, which is in the millions of people die every year from air pollution related issues. We're going to have probably faster cars and buses. We're going to have cleaner water, because a lot of stuff that goes into the atmosphere, of course, ends up in the rain and on the ground and in our water. So we're going to have cleaner drinking water. We're going to have cleaner, healthier food with fewer toxins in our food and vegetables. We're going to have more profitable businesses, because the best way to deal with climate change is just to be hyper efficient. And through pursuing efficiency, we solve environmental problems, and we do it while increasing profits. And, it's not just me that agrees. British Petroleum, Shell Oil, Repsol, 90% of the Fortune 500 companies agree with this, that actually being more sustainable and cleaner and dealing with climate change is actually going to help their bottom lines, and it's already doing that. So what else? Let's see. Healthier communities, healthier food, healthier air, healthier water, healthier kids, people losing fewer days at work, and economic prosperity because they're sick or they're dealing with some natural disaster or climate-related disaster, right? So the worst case scenario here sounds pretty good to me. Also, the less we depend on oil and fossil fuels, the less likely we are to get entangled in a war over oil. Now, that might not be good for I almost said oil industry, but also the war industry. But I'm okay with them not doing quite as well as they have been lately. And I think most of us are, so it could literally promote peace. So Put less strain on our healthcare. I could go on and on. I mean, this stuff's just popping into my head. Put less strain on healthcare systems. Put less strain on insurance and insurance claims. Open the doors to all sorts of slightly less risky, more stable economic trade. If you're not dependent, if we can produce our energy right here, we don't have to depend on energy from somewhere on the other side of the world and all the vagaries and problems that can come with that economically, and price fluctuations, etc. Right? So it sounds to me like even if we're wrong about climate change, which would mean that every one of the world's 80 plus national science foundations are wrong, every serious university, every serious researcher, the only researchers that disagree are the ones that are being funded by fossil fuel companies for their research. And the moment their funding stops, they immediately issue press releases and articles saying that actually I was wrong and climate change really is a real thing caused by humans. NOAA, NASA, Space Foundation, European Space Association, Anyway, there's pretty strong consensus. But okay, even if all of those very disparate interests are wrong about this subject, we still end up with a cleaner, happier, healthier, more prosperous, safer world to live in. Okay, so that doesn't sound like that bad of a worst case scenario. If we do nothing, what then would the worst case scenario look like? Well, likely to be a lot worse, right? Likely to deal with more wars, more cancer, more toxins in our food, higher prices. So I know we live in trying times and we hear a lot of conflicting and disparate messages. But I think if we all calm down a little bit and think about these things rationally, we can design a future that's really beautiful and prosperous for all of us, for everybody. And that's a lot more fun than arguing about things that we probably shouldn't be wasting our time arguing about. That's my theory anyway, is we could create really wonderful futures for our kids and grandkids and their grandkids. And I think we owe it to them. I mean, I think it is our responsibility. Every one of the world's great religions talks about how we are supposed to be stewards and shepherds of Mother Earth, not enemies of her. So anyway, I just wanted to put this out there today and let you know that there are solutions to all the sustainability and climate change problems. They exist now. Generally, they actually cost less than doing nothing. So we're told, oh my God, how will we afford that? That's a myth. People are lying to you. But find out for yourself. Don't believe me. And I'm happy to provide you with all kinds of, references and places you can look for yourself and make your own decisions. But I think pretty much most of us could agree that why not do the safest thing that's best for the most people, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you today from this beautiful spot and give you some encouragement, because there's hope. There's lots of hope, and a lot of wonderful changes are at hand's grasp if we just choose to go there. So this is Leafy from the Continental Divide in northern Costa Rica, signing off. Thanks for listening.